That was real nice. Real nice. Sit down, relax, relax. I've been noticing with that, the technique that you and I and Mike went over this afternoon, how you're playing that, and it really works, and you're very clean, and your definition and your dynamics are great. Very nice. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it.
Thanks.
You're making a musical statement. Very nice. Now, again, I need to make this announcement. I know I hate to be commercialized, but it's part of the whole thing. I'm going to be doing live online lessons. I'm trying to do a combination of drum set and drum pad. Now, I know that you're very busy, and because you live in another state, it's going to be difficult as it is for Mike Clark. When your schedule permits, I would really like to invite you to do a few live online lessons and explain your hand technique and your artistic approach to the drums as far as making sounds and statements, and I really enjoyed that very, very much. So would you accept that invitation?
It would be my pleasure, man.
Thank you, man.
I would love to work with you.
Just a little bit of a background on yourself. You know, you went to Juilliard. After Juilliard, what happened there after Juilliard?
After Juilliard, well, I joined the rock and roll band. I started out with classical training. First teacher was a club day player. He played weddings and bar mitzvahs. I went through him in about a year. And then I went to my high school teacher, and he sent me to Juilliard. He said, go and audition for them, and I made the audition. And I went in, and I started studying classical music, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. I wanted to play the drums. And I played timpani and all that stuff. So first thing I did was join a rock and roll cover band and play top 40s in the village. And then found an original group to play with, and joined 10 Wheel Drive with a couple of other guys, and we did an album, Brief Replies. And then a friend of mine from the early days, Elliot Randall, called me up and asked me to join him because he had gotten an album deal with Polydor. So I joined Elliot, and we made a couple albums there, and then we got called as a band to back up Jesus Christ Superstar on Broadway, and that's what got me into Broadway. And the band sort of fell apart because we didn't gig anymore. We were all doing the show, and everybody got tired and left and started doing their own thing. And I stayed on Broadway for 10 years.
What kind of shows did you? What were the name of the shows?
Well, the first show was Superstar.
Jesus Christ Superstar.
Jesus Christ Superstar, and then there were a couple of flops here and there, but I wound up doing Chorus Line.
Okay.
Downtown in the public, and then we went up to Broadway, opened it up again on Broadway, got to do the cast album, which was a really good experience. As I got to work with the same engineer that Brubeck was working with, and he told me some stuff about Joe Morello, and I really loved the sound that he got, because Joe was my idol at the time, and he made me sound, I didn't play like Joe, but he made me sound like him anyway. So that was great. And then a couple of more flops, and then I ran into Bob Fosse and did Dancing with him, which was really probably the epitome of the Broadway stuff that I did. It was a 100% dance and music show. There was no book. So it was a lot of music, and a lot of different music. I mean, it was rock and roll and jazz, a big band, small groups. There was even one section at the end of the first act, about a 20-minute section, was completely devoted to percussion. And we were doing pieces like Ionization, which was translated to, from whatever the parts were, they gave all of the horn players and the reed players all had to double on one percussion instrument. We had to, it was pretty weird. We had to teach everybody how to play their part. And there were two other percussionists besides myself. And we got to do that every night. And I think it was the top of the third act. I got to go on stage and we did a transcription of Sing 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 from the 39 concert, and I got to do Gene Krupa every night.
That must have been fun.
Yeah, it was really...
From what I understand, I've spoken to a lot of musicians who were in that same kind of thing with doing all the shows. And when I mentioned your name, everybody said, "Oh, Alan Herman, he was the most he was the most in demand at the time." You were for 10 years, I guess. You were working how many shows a night?
Well, the schedule's in 8 shows, 6 nights, 2
That's a lot of shows. Plus you were teaching, plus you were gigging, having fun. That's a lot of experience. And I'm glad that you were accepting my invitation, because that's a lot of experience to bring to the live online lessons. And I sincerely appreciate it.
Like I said before, I mean, I would love to share whatever it is I can, and I just hope it helps other drummers.
Well, I believe it will. That's why I'm inviting you.
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Herman, thank you very much for your time, and I enjoyed what you did, and I enjoyed the whole day with you and Mike Clark, and I learned a lot. Thank you. Well, we all did. We all had fun, and there was no competitive attitudes. It was just one constant learning experience. So, I need to sign off, and thank you very much.